Shaun, let's talk about some of the challenges that you've had in operating a business in Canada today, because I know there's just a full suite of them, but talk about the ones that are really affecting you.
Absolutely. I think that sometimes, and maybe not purposefully, Canada makes it difficult for businesses to operate. And that's sort of some of the legislative requirements that they have, and some of the things that we do that our competitors don't necessarily have to do, or that other governments globally are doing to protect their industries. So for example, we're competing against shipyards in the United States. They really have a captive market because vessels are essentially forced to go to those shipyards. We don't have those same type of protectionist laws here. You know, if you go to shipyards in Asia where a lot of the commercial operators are going to build their ships, they don't have the same health and safety standards that we do, which I'm happy that we have the standards that we do, but I think sometimes we price ourselves out of the market with some of the other requirements that we force on our businesses. So I think that's a challenge for sure.
So we hear a lot about the shipbuilding program in the media, and a lot of them are very negative on the shipbuilding program. I think it's an amazing program because it really fosters Canadian innovation. So what would you say to those folks that are all negative on the Canadian shipbuilding program?
I would say that we had two shipyards that we recently took over, Port Weller and Thunder Bay, that are now going concerns again because of the National Shipbuilding Strategy. So this program to rebuild the fleets for the Navy and the Coast Guard is extremely important. Has it gone off without a hitch? Definitely not. But I don't know of many projects of this size and scale that would have. Effectively, their mandate was to rebuild the Canadian shipbuilding and ship repair industry. And that's a pretty big and hefty task.
Yeah, and we're absolutely seeing what's happening in Russia. There's lots of concern about our sovereignty in the north and the Arctic. And so we really need to make sure that we're on our game so that we can protect our sovereignty. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to my favorite part of the program, and that is when I put my guests in the hot seat and say, if you were a politician, what were the three things that you would do to protect jobs and growth and help prosperity in the economy? So you're on the hot seat, you're the politician, give me your three things.
Certainly. So you talked about Arctic sovereignty. The government has the budget through the National Shipbuilding Strategy to fix and build new ships. I think that there is a lack of resources right now within the different government entities, being the Coast Guard or the Navy or PSPC, which is basically, you know, the entity that's running all these programs. I think they've really they need to get resources there so they can start rolling these projects out. Because industries here are waiting. We have times where the shipyard's completely empty, and it's very difficult to maintain a business when you have an empty shipyard. So I think that that's one thing that I would certainly do. I would look at sort of relaxing some of the legislative requirements that they do have and put in place, because I think, again, we do a lot of things to hurt businesses sometimes as opposed to help them. And I would foster innovation. I think that there are incentives that we could introduce in Canada, like you've seen in other jurisdictions, like the United States, like in Singapore, that really benefit the shipyards. And so if we started looking, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. They're doing it in other places in the world. And so I think we need to look globally for some of the innovative ideas that those governments are implementing and do the same thing here in Canada.
We absolutely have to protect our industry. We have about a minute left, and I want to hear about the projects that you're most proud about, that you're working on now and you're going to be working on in the future.
Certainly. So I would say the two streams I'm most excited about are the Coast Guard Vessel Life Extensions, VLEs. So we're currently bidding on the CCGS, Canadian Coast Guard ship Terry Fox, which would be an 18-month-long project that would be in Port Weller. And we're essentially, if you imagine a home renovation, stripping the ship right down to the studs and then rebuilding it, which I'm very excited about. And then our new build program is, I think, the future of Heddle and the future of Ontario shipyards. We're looking at building ferries for Toronto Island, and we're also looking at building ships for the Canadian Coast Guard. And I think those, three different buckets are really what's going to propel us into the future.